cannot make a Star Wars movie and not have Stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers, they're just iconic. I would argue it's one of the most recognizable designs in all of cinema.
On my command.
They're the first bad guys you really meet in the entire saga, starting with A New Hope. The moment I remember most is them blasting onto the blockade runner, just wiping out the rebel fleet troopers that are there.
They were terrifying, but also super cool, super clean.
Ralph McQuarrie is the grandmaster of concept design. I mean, he worked so closely with George, and he distilled down the essence of what George wanted, which was to create an image that was frightening. And I loved what he did with the helmet, because he basically turned it into a very stylized skull.
They look like skeletons. They look like death.
Here they come.
When Ralph had designed the Stormtrooper, he was thinking that this would be a zero-G outfit that you could take out into space. But we never really saw that until we saw the TIE Pilot. Meaning that the front two hose connections were actually used. And so you actually started to connect all those design elements to realize that, oh, the Stormtroopers actually had multiple purposes. And the idea that Stormtroopers would actually custom fit their armor to the environment was just a brilliant solution. The Scout Troopers from Return of the Jedi had to be more flexible and more mobile to climb around these environments. So it would make sense that there was more soft material.
The biker scouts don't wear camouflage. They should, but they don't. Because the Empire doesn't even care if they get shot. It's showing arrogance, which inspires fear.
And what I liked is the new take on the helmet, because it still kept the idea of a very terrifying mask, but instead of a down-frown mouth, it now became an open-mouthed scream. Rogue One was unique in the sense that it was going to interpret the imagery of the original trilogy. We wanted to create a new class of Stormtrooper, which were the Death Troopers. The elite of the Stormtroopers. Tall and lean and powerful and fast. And some of that power was in the proportions, but it was also in the details. For instance, we took the cheekbones and made them longer, so they almost look like fangs. And we were exploring some other ideas for creating Stormtroopers specific to different environments. When we were approaching the Shore Trooper, we thought, how about if we create a very specific Stormtrooper that fit on Scarif?
Troopers!
And at the end, the final design of the Shore Trooper is a blend. There's a little bit of Scout Trooper. There's a little bit of classic Stormtrooper in there. And there's a little bit of color, which you take from the Clone Troopers.
Master Yoda, all forward positions are advancing.
When I was working with George on designing Episode 2, George wanted to connect the Jango-Fett Mandalorian helmet with the classic Stormtrooper design. The Clone Trooper was actually going to be the bridge between the two.
And what George and I tried to do in Clone Wars was bring a sense of individuality to these clone troopers. They started painting their armor uniquely, and they started to take on different attitudes and personalities. When the Empire takes over, then you take that wash of color and icons and logos on the helmets, and you completely strip it away to have the classic Stormtrooper. Working on Rebels, we had the classic Stormtrooper. We just tweaked the armor a tiny bit to move it a little more back to Ralph McQuarrie's look. Trying to honor it and tell the story in a classic sense.
The design for the First Order Stormtrooper was an interesting challenge.
The idea was to ask, how do you take the spirit of what the Stormtrooper was and feel like there was an evolution within the timeline of the world?
And if you think about it, the clone troopers were, let's say, in our timeline, 1920s and 1930s design. The classic troopers were probably 1970s. And so the First Order then perhaps could be contemporary. The First Order troopers have new upgraded materials. Aesthetically, we also went a little bit more streamlined.
FN 2187. Submit your blaster for inspection.
Yes, Captain.
Captain Phasma is one of my favorite designs. The only thing we did was just change her surface material and made it chrome.
They put the helmet on me, and I looked in the mirror. I think I just giggled quite a lot. It was great that they had not feminized the armor. She can be in this position and be female.
In Rise of Skywalker, we have new troopers that are completely different in design. The materials, the color, the lines, there was something about the aesthetic of it that just felt absolutely right. I cannot wait for people to see the work that everyone's done.
Hey, stop right there.